Hello and welcome to Mini-Masterclass Mondays. I'm super excited. Before I get started, though, I just want to tell you that if you are a subscriber, great. Thank you so much for being here. I'm happy that you're here. One thing that I want to talk about, though, today is about picking a name. So there are a few people that have been contacting me being like, Marla, I want to start my business. What should I do? How should I do it? And I really wanted to come on here real quick to tell you that your name is going to be your name. And your name is important, right? Because you want it to be a reflection of you, but you also want people to remember it. Okay. So when thinking about a name, I remember when I was thinking about my company name, Velvet Lips, right? I was like, okay, I want something to be sexy. I want it to be reflective of what I value. And so I value communication. I also value my genitals, right? And so that is what I named it after. And so at the same time, it's very vague enough so that people are not necessarily going to, they're going to, people are going to like, they're going to be like, oh, well, that's cute, right? So anyway, my top tips really around finding a name that's good for you and you want to do your business. I remember when we did Sex Down South, we put that into the, Georgia government registration. They were like, no, you can't do that. So we had to change it to SDS conferences, right? So understand that you do not want any blocks or holdbacks when thinking about your business. So with that said, there are 4 things that I want you to take into consideration when you're thinking about picking a name for your business, right? So number 1, I want you to seriously consider that it is something that you want to stare at forever. That's right. Forever. Okay. You want to be able to say that name over and over and over again without getting tired of hearing it. You know what I mean? You don't want to cringe every time, someone says it. You want that name to be your legacy. Okay. You want it to be your legacy. The second thing is that you want it to be easy to remember. A lot of times people won't remember necessarily our names, but they might remember our business names, right? And so you want to have a name that is very memorable. Anything that's hard to pronounce or spell, or you need to be a spelling bee champ to like spell it out. That's going to be a little bit difficult. So you want to pick words that really resonate in people's minds. And if you're not sure, asking your friends or family how they feel, how memorable the name is, that's going to be helpful to you as well. And then the next thing you want to do is make sure it's meta friendly, government friendly, all of that stuff. So unfortunately, when we have to think about our businesses, we also have to think about all these other entities, in corporate America that are guiding what we do or how we're doing it. So we really want to stay away from names that might be too provocative, unfortunately, because a lot of times these provocative names, they get shut down, they get their pages deleted. The government comes after them because they're like, wait, hold up, what are you doing? So understand that like you want something to be as family friendly as possible. Okay. And you want it to be approachable too. You want people to not be like, ooh, wait a minute, that might be too much. You know what I mean? So you want it to be attractive enough so that people do want to be around your business. The next thing is your name should have a story, right? We know that storytelling in our business is essential. Okay. So that could easily start with your name. It also becomes a point of entry for media, podcast interviewers who are curious as to like why you came up with the name, all of those different things. So telling the story is also a really great way to have a very memorable name. So if you've already picked a name, great. If you haven't, these are some things to think about. In addition, I want to say kind of a quick bonus tip. When you're on social media, you want to have the same social media name throughout, okay? So if I have my one Marla Stewart on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on whatever, right? Any kind of social media and other Blue Sky, all the different things that we have. We want to make sure we have that same social media handle. And the reason for that is it's easier for people to be like, where can I find you on social media? Great. It's the same handle throughout. So that is something we, need to think about. And I want you to hopefully, this is the little Monday masterclass, and I promise I'll get a fun little ring jigger, something to go along with this. But anyway, just wanted to say, hey, thank you all for being with me here on lovely Monday morning. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always drop them in my DMs or private chat. And I would love to hear from you and what you want to learn about next. Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday.